Hey guys, Chance Reynolds here, and in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to teach you all how to avoid one of the most common LLC mistakes and not do it the wrong way, but do it the right way. Again, my name is Chance Reynolds. I'm an attorney in the state of Texas. I'm not your attorney, but I am an attorney. So check out this video, get this knowledge, don't mess it up. Yeah, check it out. All right, I want to tell you what's required of LLC registered agency. This is the most common misunderstanding that I have with people throughout the years of doing LLCs. It's just a requirement that a lot of people don't understand, and it's the easiest one to mess up, and it's the most common one that people do mess up when they create their own LLCs. So pay attention. This is very important. Every state requires that you list a registered agent or they call it a resident agent in one state. I can't remember which state. I can't remember if it's Maine or Massachusetts. One of those northeastern states calls it a resident agent, but it's typically the same thing. And almost every state, the requirements are the same. The difference between an LLC registered agent address versus a business address is this. So most states will ask for both registered agent address and a business address. They can be the same in almost every state. But they don't have to be the same. The registered agent address, the purpose of it is to give an official address to the state, and it's typically going to be publicly listed. So this is, if you can use your home address, you can use different addresses. I'll get into those requirements in a second, but you just want to make sure that you understand that this is going to be publicly listed. So if you're for some reason not wanting your address to be publicly listed and searchable, like if you're a landlord and you use property managers to like manage the property, you probably don't want tenants to just easily be able to look up your home address, something like that. Or if you have any sort of business where you're dealing really with clients, you probably don't really want them to know where you live because they call you so much, they may just show up at your house. So registered agency, the requirement is that it's an actual physical address. That's number one. So it can't be a PO box. Typically, there's like some really, really rare exceptions for that, but probably they don't apply to you. If you're like in a really, really small town, I think you can use a PO box there because the court will like know where to reach you. But either way, so it has to be a physical address where an actual person that's an adult is at. And that typically means, you know, somebody over the age of 18 that has agreed to be a registered agent. So someone needs to be at this address that understands that they're acting as a registered agent. So you can't just like create a registered agent address at the UPS store without first agreeing about the requirements of that with them. So that's the second big piece, is that you have to be over 18 years old or just be a legal adult. Typically, that's how it is. And then the last requirement is that this person that's at that address is reachable during normal business hours. That's typically how it's worded. And that just means, you know, during the normal business day, 9 to 5. So if it's like that's why a PO box or something like that doesn't work. And typically like a UPS box won't work either. It just kind of depends on that specific store, but you need to make sure that you have that discussion with them before you actually use that address. So make sure you're doing that. Yeah, so there's, you know, you could obviously use your home address if somebody's there. The risk of using your home address or some other address where someone is not there is that this is going to be the official address for official documents from the government for your company, for your LLC, for your corporation. This is where the state will typically send any like annual reminders, anything like that to this address. If they still do that sort of thing and they don't do it by email, they'll send those documents, anything that you know, related to the state, to the city, to the county. Typically those things are going to go to the registered agent address. And the federal government, sometimes they'll send stuff to that address. Sometimes, depending on like what type of documents that they will switch whatever address they have over to whatever address is listed on your tax documents. But sometimes the IRS will send things there. But the most important thing is that if you end up in a lawsuit, this is where the court is going to send someone to notify you that you've been sued and put you on notice that you've been sued. And there's sometimes a small risk involved if they show up to the property and somebody is not there, or somebody hasn't agreed to be the registered agent. There's a possibility, a very, very small possibility, but in some cases where you can lose a lawsuit by default. Typically the court will like make sure that you get served. Like they're going to like find you wherever you are. That's typically what ends up happening. Even if somebody's not at their residence, like the court will really try to make sure that they've been served before they go to a default judgment. And typically that doesn't happen, but it can happen, especially like if you're out of state, you have an LLC that's out of state, whatever. So that's how that part of registered agency works. So there is an option where you can outsource this. It's called commercial registered agency. It's available. So many companies do this, and it ranges very, very wide range of prices. Like if you go through something like LegalZoom, they just like charge like way too much for a service that does very, very little, several $100s per year. It's kind of a little hidden fee that they have. We do right now $10 a month as of the time of filming this. When people hire us to create their LLCs and they need a registered agent, we have the option that they can use us. They can use whoever they want. But yeah, so that's how registered agency works. Typically, you can get registered agency outsourced for, around $100 to $150 per year. And what will happen is your mail will come into that address. They will shred all non-official documents and scan the official documents and email them over. So it's not like a physical pickup of your mail. So you don't necessarily want, that address on your contracts, on your website, anything like that, unless you've had a prior agreement with the person providing that address. That's kind of a lot of information to share, but it's just the most commonly misunderstood piece. It's not the most complicated piece whenever you just understand that you just pretty much need to just outsource it typically, but people get really hung up on that, and that's how it's done. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that info that I just gave you, then you can drop a comment or shoot me a message, and I will show you how to get signed up for a free consult with me to discuss the LLC, probably around this video somewhere, depending on where you're watching it. There are people saying, oh, you don't need any guidance on creating your LLC, just do it yourself. I don't want to say, I don't throw the word moron around a lot, but it's not very wise to just go forward and trust people telling you to do it on your own. I've done thousands of these now, and I can set you on the right path. So let's get on a call, free consult, 30 minutes. Drop me a message below or shoot me a DM, and I will let you know how to get